In this video, we're going to be taking a look at my run to Legend rank in Season 8 of Go Battle League, using the very unique team of Talonflame, Abomasnow, and Umbreon, all Excel. So I'll talk through the team and the philosophy behind building it, but I'm just going to go straight into these matches. First of all, we're met with a Cresselia, really good for Talonflame. The opponent swaps into a G-Fisk, which is not great, but in the 2-shield, Talonflame can win, simply because one Rock Slide doesn't KO, and we are single resisting the Mud Shots, which don't do much damage anyways. The opponent's going to double shield the Flame Charges. If they let one go through, they will lose this matchup. But I make a mistake here and swap into my Umbreon. I was actually unaware at this point, or this early in the season, that a Rock Slide does not KO the Talonflame. I had a match later on in the season where I figured that out by actually just playing through, and I didn't record that one, unfortunately, but we did win it because of that. So, a bit of a misplay here on my end. Thankfully, though, we're still able to come out on top on this match. But I throw stupidly here, CMP tying with the opponent. I thought I was going to be able to throw right before they got to Earthquake, but obviously I miscounted. The opponent brings in their own Talonflame, which is really bad because I can't bring in the Abomasnow against this, and my Umbreon is already very low. The opponent gets to their third Incinerate here. Thankfully, they make a misplay as well by going for Flame Charge. If they go for Brave Bird, they win. But I go for one more Incinerate, and then I throw my own Brave Bird to KO the opponent's Talonflame. And I'm pretty comfortable at this point because the Abomasnow can also deal with the Cresselia, assuming it doesn't have a massive energy advantage, which it definitely won't, or at least not in comparison to its health, because I'm going to be able to land that Brave Bird and do just about 50%. The reason this team is very powerful is because you have two very strong checks to Giratina in the back, as well as two very strong checks to water types which counter Talonflame in the back as well. Umbreon is a little unorthodox. It does beat Swampert, and it can win against Politoed, which are the two most common water types that you see. And people who lead Swampert usually don't have a direct response to Umbreon in the back. They don't have like a counter user, most likely. At least that's not what I experienced, and it's why this team was able to work well. A lot of times when I was safe swapping Umbreon against Swampert leads, people were staying in because I found that they had like Cresselias and Giratinas in the back, as an example. The whole team does well against Cresselia. The thing that makes this team very powerful is even when you lose the lead, and this is kind of how I build my teams in general, and in the title of this video with the thumbnail, you probably see that I have mentioned that I have an 80% win percentage hitting Legend, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. You can see there we won 87 out of the first 100 matches for an 87% win percentage. But the reason that this team is so powerful, like I mentioned, is because even if you lose the lead, you safe swap Umbreon, even if you lose secondary matchup, because you can bring back in the Talonflame and usually farm down the opponent's second Pokemon, it'll allow you to have a Brave Bird stored, which will either do a massive amount of damage, hit for neutral, even if, you know, like things like Politoed and Swampert resist the fire moves, but Brave Bird hits them for a lot of damage. Same with Giratina. But you'll either get a lot of damage or burn the shield from the opponent. And then Abomasnow, I can't even count how many times Abomasnow cleaned up opponents' back lines. It was really, really strong as a closer. Obviously, this team has a weakness to counter in the back. So in this matchup here, you can see that we had an Obstagoon in the lead, which is good because if you want to see the Obstagoon, you definitely want to see it in the lead. In the 2-shield scenario, which it usually goes to in those matchups, you win with the Talonflame, which is good. I'm going to swap into the Umbreon to prevent getting farmed down after burning the second shield from the opponent, because again, Umbreon wins against Swampert, but most likely the opponent will swap out of the Swampert matchup, and their whole back line is weak to Abomasnow. So I'm pretty comfortable here, do whatever damage I can with the Umbreon, and then bring in the Abomasnow to clean up the back line. This match is over though, and I think the opponent, once they see the Abomasnow, just leaves the match because they realize one Energy Ball will take them out. Even if they were running Sludge Wave, it doesn't do enough to one-shot the Abomasnow. I think from a Shadow Swampert, it does like 85-90%, which is crazy, but one Energy Ball will KO. Even a double debuffed Energy Ball, I think, still KOs Swampert. Alright, this next matchup here, Berserker in the lead, good for Talonflame. Gyarados as a safe swap is pretty tough for this team, because Gyarados can win against Umbreon. but the Obama Snow is your best choice. And even this matchup is not the most comfortable. I have to shield the first move, or have to shield the crunch, because if I don't, the opponent can likely bait me with Aqua Tails later on and double shield to win switch. And this lineup is usually Berserker double water, so it's very likely they have a Swampert or a Politoed in the back. But because I shield the first crunch, I'm going to be able to let this next move go through. It's a crunch as well, gets us down below 50%, and you can actually see here, if the opponent opted to double shield, they might have been able to farm us down, but it was a risk for the opponent, so they're just going to let it go and opt to take the farm down with the Berserker. We are even on shield, so this is fine. I'm going to go ahead and throw this energy ball, and to prevent getting farmed down, because I know the... oh no, I actually do let it get farmed down. That's interesting. But okay, I'm going to bring back in the Talonflame here. And I know the Umbreon has a good matchup against Berserker as well, because it resists the Shadow Claws and the close combats don't even do 50% to the Umbreon. And thankfully the opponent swaps in their Clefable. Very likely that they were going to shield that move, that's why I went for Flame Charge, because they're not going to risk getting hit by a Brave Bird. But because they do shield the Flame Charge, this is an easy W now. Even if I had to burn my shield, you're going to see here, one close combat doesn't do 50%. So I would have been able to survive 2 close combats, and after the debuff to the opponent with shields down, I have back-to-back Foul Plays loaded anyways pretty much. So this is a very comfortable win at this point. Just go for the Foul Play. It's going to one-shot the Berserker at this range, especially since they're double debuffed. And that was an easy victory. So a little bit of maneuvering. It's not an automatic win by any means, but losing switch there wouldn't have even been the worst thing, because what is the opponent going to do? Bring in the Clefable against the Talonflame? They were double weak to it, right? So they swapped in their hard counter. We met them with an Obama Snow, and that was a pretty good match. All right, this next matchup here, good lead. The opponent is staying in, which means that they're likely double weak to Talonflame in the back. The opponent is very likely going to shield this so that they can get off their charge move, which means I'm going to shield their charge move. Even if it's a resisted Meteor Mash, I'm going to shield it to preserve the health on my Talonflame. Talonflame is still a bit squishy, but it's very overpowered in terms of its offensive pressure. The opponent sneaks in an extra Incinerate, which isn't good. I go for Flame Charge here because there's no way the opponent doesn't shield that, because a Brave Bird would one-shot their Talonflame before they could even get off a move. So I'm just going to match shields. I sneak in my own Incinerate, which means I'm going to outpace them to the next move. Get to this Brave Bird, going to one-shot their Talonflame now, and this is a pretty comfortable victory. They bring in an Obama Snow, which is crazy. You can see 2 Incinerates. The third Incinerate would have KO'd the Obama Snow. That's crazy. But we bring in the Umbreon here to match up with the Obama Snow. The opponent's going to swap back into their Clefable. We're going to meet it with our Obama Snow. They're not going to be able to get to another Meteor Mash before we outpace them to the Weather Ball. So again, a fairly comfortable matchup. That's another thing that's really good about this team, and how I was able to really win 80% of my matches, is because the team is built to come back from negative leads. But when you have a positive lead, it's usually very overwhelmingly easy to maintain that alignment and win the battles that you should, so to speak, right? I know not every positive lead is an easy win, but this team really helps to really solidify the positive lead wins, and also has a good amount of comeback potential against negative leads. So that was the matches from the first half of the season. These next 5 matches, you can see I was at 2960, and I said, let me just record these matches in case I do a miracle run on 5-0, like I did last season, where I didn't record it when I was at 2950, and I was like, there's no way I'm going 5-0, so I'm not even going to record this set. But I didn't make that mistake this season. I said, okay, even if I get a 3-0 or a 3-2, let me just record it anyways. So now we're going to get into some negative leads. Melmetal is a bad lead because it outpaces Talonflame to the Rock Slide. Thundershock and Counter are both 2-turn fast moves, so what that means is they will likely do 7 Thundershocks or counters for your 3 Incinerates. Incinerates are a 5-turn fast move, 3 Incinerates is 15 turns, 4 Talonflame, and then Thundershock and Counter are 2-turn fast moves, so 7 of those is 14 turns. So that's how opponents usually play. My opponent makes a mistake here. I make a mistake first in swapping out. I should have thrown an Incinerate. The opponent would have gotten 3 Thundershocks, and then they would have probably tried to throw right away. And then I could have swapped and caught the Rock Slide on the Umbreon. But I make a stupid play in swapping out when the opponent had 2 Thundershocks worth of energy. They build up 3 more Thundershocks and then throw a Superpower into the Umbreon. Big mistake. They should have banked that Rock Slide, and swapped into their Obstagoon. There's no reason to throw the superpower, right? Obstagoon has such an overwhelmingly positive matchup against Umbreon. Why would you need to throw the superpower? But this is also a reason why you need Last Resort, because against Alolan Muck and Obstagoon, you need Last Resort for the Umbreon, which are two common things in the Open Ultra League. Psychic has virtually no play, because Machamp I think still survives with Psychic even. It doesn't even matter. But because the opponent didn't preserve a Rock Slide, I'm able to take out the Melmetal, which is all I care about, and the opponent has a Swampert in the back. They're still switch locked. I wasn't thinking. I should have just thrown the Energy Ball right away to prevent a sack swap, but stupid me, I let the opponent get through 2 charge moves, which puts me at risk for the opponent catching on their Obstagoon, but thankfully they were still switch locked, and I'm able to get off this Energy Ball, one-shot the Swampert, and then get to this Weather Ball and KO the Obstagoon. So despite being hard countered in the lead and on the safe swap, I'm able to take that matchup at the end because of the opponent misplaying. If they would have stored that Rock Slide, they could have instantly swapped back into the Melmetal, thrown the Rock Slide, KO'd the Talonflame. I might have still been able to come back because the Obstagoon was low enough and shields were down that I probably could have farmed it down, and then my only win con would be either a Giratina or a Swampert in the back, which is actually fairly common with a Melmetal lead, because you need counters to Swampert, right? If the opponent leads a Melmetal, they need counters to beat a Swampert lead. So Giratina in the back or their own Swampert is common. Okay, so this next matchup, I don't know if it's Milotic or Milotic. I'm going to say Melodic, but or Milotic, I don't know. But yeah, we're met with a Milotic lead, and you don't really see that. I think this is the first one I encountered in all of Open Ultra League, which is crazy. It obviously hard counters the Talonflame since it's resisting our fire moves and it has access to Surf. But the opponent makes a mistake here as well in swapping late. They build up to a Surf, store it, and swap into a G-Fisk. And I'm going to shield because I need to win switch. My only win con here is hoping that my Talonflame has some play with whatever the opponent has in the back and landing an Energy Ball on the Milotic. But I have to go down a shield, so this is not the ideal situation here. I'm going to get hit by an Earthquake here. This is totally fine. I'm obviously not going to burn my second shield here, but the opponent is likely going to bring in whatever's not their Milotic or Milotic. I don't know how you say it. But yeah, they swap out into a Talonflame, and so I let the opponent get 2 free Incinerates, which isn't great. And this is really bad. They basically had counters to my whole line. Technically, if in the one shield and they get the bait with the G-Fisk, with the Rock Slide bait, they can win against the Umbreon. And then if they had a Talonflame in the back for my Abomasnow, it's GG's. I have to shield, have to go 2 shields down because a Brave Bird would have obviously basically one-shotted my Talonflame here because it was buffed once. Now, because I'm 2 shields down, I'm going to be able to get to a Brave Bird and burn one of the opponent's shield here. I'm going to be able to survive a Surf. They transfer the Incinerate damage onto their G-Fisk, and I'm barely able to get to the Surf, or sorry, not the Surf, the Brave Bird. Going to get a shield here, which is good. And now I have to hope that I can land a bait. That's my only win condition here. The opponent's going to farm up to a Blizzard, hit me with a Blizzard, and then with the Dragon Tail damage, a Surf will be enough to KO me. So I think they need 5 Dragon Tails for a Surf. So they're at 3 Dragon Tails right there. I wasn't even keeping count at this point. I don't know if they had an extra residual energy. But, oh man, even the 5th Dragon Tail would have been able to KO me anyways. But if they got to the Surf there on the 4th Dragon Tail, I was thankfully able to get to the Energy Ball and I landed the bait. And the Energy Ball was enough to take out the Milotic, whatever. And we're able to win that match. Crazy that we were able to come back. Took a bit of a break from those first 2 matches. Negative leads, we're able to come back. And again, like I was saying, that's why this team is strong, because you can likely get shields back with the Brave Bird, even if you lose the secondary matchup. But that last match was really weird because the opponent was swapping out. This next match, Galvantula in the lead, very bad for my whole team. The only answer I have to it is basically the Talonflame. And I know this matchup because I did play it earlier on in the season. I have to go 2 shields down, even if it's lunges, I have to shield them. I have to get this Galvantula out of here. But the opponent really only has to burn 1 shield, but I can farm it down. Somehow the opponent is able to throw 2 Volt Switches and click on their charge move in the span of my 1 Incinerate, so that's cool. but I have a Brave Bird loaded, and the opponent is likely going to shield this, but my opponent very smartly just takes the damage. And because they didn't shield, I'm actually going to just let this Jellicent farm me down so that I can line up an Umbreon against the Jellicent. And so you would think, oh great, this is, easy now. But the opponent has an Alolan Ninetales in the back, and Alolan Ninetales does well against my back line. Thankfully, this is Charm and not Powder Snow. Powder Snow wipes my back line. Charm, I at least can bring in the Obama Snow and have some play against it. The opponent makes a mistake here again, going for Psyshock. They definitely should have went for Weather Ball, where they get stab damage on it, and they probably would have KO'd me if they went for Weather Ball, and I would not have been able to get off that second Energy Ball. So the opponent successfully shielded my first Energy Ball. I'm able to get to a second Energy Ball. This is likely just a Weather Ball. They're not going to throw a Psyshock into an Umbreon, obviously. But I'm going to be able to land this last resort and get the Alolan Ninetales very low. The opponent smartly switches out into their Jellicent. They have a lot of energy stored, but because they're running Hex, it's very unlikely they're running Ice Beams, so they're just going to start Bubble Beaming me. I guess this is the right play because they can't really go for Shadow Balls. I make a huge misplay. I throw this foul play, and I should have just committed to farming down after this. But again, I miscount and CMP tie, thinking that I was going to throw right before they got to another Bubble Beam. And this is basically the only way I could lose this match, if the opponent comes back in with the Ninetales and is able to charm me down or get to a move like another Weather Ball. But thankfully, we're able to get to this foul play. It's funny because Snarl would have normally KO'd the Alolan Ninetales at that health, but because I was triple debuffed, the Snarls weren't doing enough. And thankfully we were still able to take that match despite the misplays on our end. The opponent played really, really well in that match, especially not shielding the Brave Bird from the Talonflame, bringing in the Jellicent. All right, the difference between the first half of the season and this second half. So again, I only played Open Ultra League. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning, but I only played Open Ultra League in this run to Legend rank, and I only used this team. So all of these wins were just in the Open Ultra League, which is crazy. The difference between the first two halves of the season, so the first half of the season's Ultra League, the XL Defense Form Deoxys wasn't a thing. Deoxys came back midway through Season 8, and as you can see here in the second half, when Ultra League came back around in the rotation, yeah, we encountered a few XL Deoxys. Very good against this team. Basically, Umbreon is the only answer to it, and if it's in the lead, it's very tough to deal with because obviously Rock Slides do double super effective against the Talonflame, and it obviously wipes Obama Snow, counter damage super effective, and Rock Slides also super effective. Did not see the opponent get the swap off, but again, kudos to them for making a good swap. Hard countered in the lead, hard countered on the swap. The opponent has double Rock Slides locked and loaded, but they are a little delayed on the swap. So I recognize this, and I'm actually going to opt to try to save my Umbreon here and bring back in my Talonflame at the earliest opportunity. You can see here I bank energy, bring back in the Talonflame. That's fine, I have to absorb this damage from the Obstagoon. It's not going to KO me. I have to worry about the double banked Rock Slides on the Deoxys. The Deoxys is very low. Because I was able to land that Brave Bird, I'm going to opt to double shield here. And you see that I was able to get in 2 free Incinerates basically, which is really good for us. And I make a bit of a misplay here. You can see me clicking on the Flame Charge as my Incinerate was going through because I did not want to get hit by a third move. But thankfully the opponent doesn't go for Rock Slide. They opt to just get off of Psycho Boost. And my clicking on the charge move doesn't register because I was in the middle of the Incinerate, thankfully. Or it registered the Incinerate over the clicking of the charge move. And that won me the game. If I would have ended up throwing the charge move, I definitely would have lost. Because I'm going to be able to burn both the shields with this double Flame Charge on the Talonflame. And I have to just pray that the Obama Snow can clean up what's in the back. It's very unlikely they're running triple counter in Open Ultra, but I'm going to bring back in the Umbreon, throw this last resort with shields down. It's going to get the Obstagoon very low, and then I'm going to farm down with the Obama Snow because the opponent should have been energy dry. They're not likely to get to a cross chop. And the opponent smartly swaps out, so to prevent getting farmed down. The Powder Snow does more damage than the Snarl. That's why I opted to swap into the Obama Snow to farm down the Obstagoon. And the opponent thankfully has a Water type in the back. So not a Swampert, but a Lapras. They're running some Spice with the Dragon Pulse, so kudos to them. But because shields are down, I'm going to be able to easily land double Energy Ball and take out this Lapras. I overfarmed a little bit, so I had enough residual energy to throw a Weather Ball into this Obstagoon as well, just to be extra safe, because I think they were getting fairly close to a Cross Chop, which would have KO'd the Abomasnow. So I'm 4-0, and I'm like, okay, great, that should be enough to get me to Legend, because I think 4-1s could potentially get you 40 points if you're lucky. It would suck if I got to like 297, 290, or sorry, 2,997 or something like that. So we're going into this 5th match, and I'm like, okay, one more match to go. If I can get the 5-0, I can definitely hit Legend. Shadow Gramble in the lead, fairly good lead for us. The opponent makes a nice swap to catch the Flame Charge on their Lapras. I'm going to opt to stay in here and get to the second Flame Charge. This will do a lot of damage, so the opponent is very likely to shield. And then I'm going to opt to swap into my Umbreon before the opponent can click on the Surf, so they don't throw Surf. They're likely going to go for like Ice Beam or something. Yeah. But this is putting me in a bit of a weird position, because technically the switch clocks are now misaligned long enough that the opponent could swap back in the Granbull. But thankfully they don't. So the opponent's just basically going to take losing the secondary matchup, bringing in the Granbull, farming down the Umbreon, and then throwing a move into the Talonflame. But again, because I'm up a shield, it's not really going to matter too much. I'm just going to shield the move from the Granbull. Should have thrown the Foul Play, not really a big deal though. I'm going to have to shield this, obviously. But a Flame Charge would do a lot of damage. Thankfully, the opponent has a Giratina in the back, and we are going to be able to win this matchup with residual energy, throw moves into the Granbull, and then we have more moves stored on the Talonflame, or enough energy on the Talonflame that we can easily throw a Brave Bird into the Granbull and take the match. So we're able to go 5-0 in our final set. So good thing I recorded, unlike Season 7 where I was at 29.55 or something, and I was like, there's no way I'm going 5-0, so I'm not going to record the set, and I missed recording the set to Legend. So I actually recorded this one, thankfully. And yeah, that was the Legend run. Struggling to catch this Gible, unfortunately. Cleaning up the bag space a little bit. But you can see there, 188 wins out of 235 total matches. So I think that's like less than 50 losses and 188 wins. Which is an 80% win percentage exactly. And this is before, I guess they buffed the Stardust rewards, but this is before that happened. But yeah, that's the Legend run, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Quantum's out.